Alright, here we go with Chapter 5, The Lost Holy Grounds in Bayonetta for the Xbox 360. So, making pretty good progress through this game, and the last level was the boss fight with Fortitudo, and that was really cool. A lot of good visuals going on, and pretty good challenge. So I enjoyed that one quite a bit. Now, this stage, or this chapter, is more traditional. Kind of, it has some puzzle-solving elements and lots of arena fights. And I think this one might set a record for number of new enemies introduced. It seemed like there were 5 or 6 just in this one chapter, which is really cool. These guys gave me quite a bit of trouble just because they, at least initially, seem so much faster than other enemies in the game. So I died a few times fighting these guys, and you get to see some cool new torture techniques. But once you understand their attacks, you can get into witch time with them pretty easily. One thing they do is sometimes they'll jump do a rising attack, and so when you go into witch time, you'll have to do a quick jump so that you can get some attacks in, or you can use your guns to shoot them. So here's another partial piece of an LP, and here you run into Luca again, and there was a little bit of a scene before then where you paint lipstick on him. I'm not quite sure how the story works with the different dimensions and how sometimes the characters can see each other and sometimes they can't. I'm sure there's an explanation out there, but I haven't picked up on that yet. So anyway, he brings up the fact that you did this thing to his father, and then it goes into this funny little cutscene where he cops a bit of a feel, and he wrongly assumes that something here is going to happen, but it really looks like Bayonetta just saved his life. So kind of a fun way to show that side of Bayonetta, that she's just not out to kill everything. She seems to care for Luca, and so I'll be looking forward to seeing how that part of the story continues to develop. And so moving on, here's yet another new enemy, similar to the creature from the 3rd chapter. So here's another Dominion. His name's Fearless, and yeah, much like that creature, except he has armor and they have these tails. And so this guy seems to have might be like an electric element, and the other one's fire. And so yeah, it's the combat and the fights are getting a lot more complicated with multiple enemies of stronger power. These guys are interesting. They're playing, I guess, at the tuba, and there's a guy up on another platform to the right that is firing fireballs at you while you're fighting these guys. So you have to use your ears too for this battle, because a lot of times those guys will be off screen and you don't know what they're doing, so you just have to time your evade moves carefully to those coming at you. So right there, so you just jump over there and take care of them. And then this is a neat little device. So you turn this and it spins the gears and changes day into night. So I like these contraptions they have all throughout the game. They look really nice, and then they're bookended by good cutscenes. And so this right here is a new bit of a gameplay mechanic, very similar to what you have to do in Lego City Undercover. And it's a bit of a free-fall level, kind of like if you remember the game MDK from the original PlayStation and PC from Shiny Entertainment. So you're kind of doing these free-fall things where you can take care of enemies and get extra halos. Here you take care of those guys again. You fight this pair of enemies again, and they drop these claw enemies, or claw weapons, sorry. And now here's another new enemy. This is another Dominion, Harmony. These are just winged creatures. And here you get a chainsaw, and you could use this to take care of these guys with this torture move. Pretty gruesome. Kind of brings to mind Gears of War. And so yeah, it's this game's very bloody, but in a kind of over the top, almost cartoonish kind of way. So you get your second piece of that record, and you need 3 pieces for this record to be complete. And you'll go into this tower, and you'll run into another new enemy. This guy is really cool. Ardor, Principality. So these guys, I think you have to fight 2, and the interesting thing, and it's something that has bothered me a little bit in this game, is how claustrophobic some of these arenas are, and it's easy to kind of get lost. So like right here, it's hard to see, and you just have to try to see through everything that's going on and either see or hear the attack cues so that you can evade and go into witch time. So that's one thing I've found in this game that is key to success. Is, you know, the game looks really nice and the combat is just beautiful to look at, but in order to be successful and in order to get platinum or pure platinum and get through these battles without getting hit, or hit as little as possible, you really have to be paying attention to those cues and just sort of drown or filter out everything else. And I'm finding that that is really hard to do on my first playthrough here. What I'm thinking is that, you know, in subsequent playthroughs, things will get easier, and, you know, I won't be so taken by the spectacle of everything, and I'll be able to just focus on combos and evading, and that way, hopefully, you know, I'll improve my scores and rank. And, you know, I know that there have been folks out there who've been playing this game and replaying this game for years, and I think that's awesome. That's a sign of a really good game, and maybe not even just a really good game, but a great game, or, you know, a true classic or timeless action game is one that will continue to challenge you and continue to reward your improvements time and time again, almost indefinitely. If you think about games like traditional shoot-em-ups, like vertical shoot-em-ups, like the games from Cave, those are the types of games that, you know, you can play through and you can use continues and bombs and everything and get through it and see all the stages and see all the bosses. But in order to truly master it, it takes a certain level of dedication that not a lot of gamers have. And, you know, there are some games that I have dedicated myself to that level. Radiant Silvergun on the Saturn was one of them. I played that for weeks, if not months, and mastered the first 3 or 4 stages in that level. But, you know, I never 100% mastered it. But it was a game that I dedicated myself to and truly understood all of its nuances and how to properly play and exploit its various systems. So that's really fun, and that's, I think, what makes games like that or this so rewarding. You know, it's that I guess that quality that the designers thought that much and created a gameplay system and gameplay mechanics that are so deep and take such a level of dedication to master that, you know, you could play these games for years and still not have done or seen everything. And so that's something that, you know, despite some of the things I've critiqued about this game, you know, the core gameplay is just, dare I say, brilliant. It's really good. As you see, I've used a lot of the same combos, but I'm trying to do different ones, and I'm trying to chain things together better, you know, to varying levels of success. But it's been a great journey so far, and I talked through the entire second half of this video, but it's funny after you defeat Jeanne here. You know, there's kind of some funny stereotypical, you know, action dialogue where it's like, you know, you're not worth my time, and I'm gonna run away. And Bayonetta kind of lets her. So it's one of those things that happens in films and books and just most media and stories that kind of bugs me, but you know, it in a way it is probably designed this way to be paying homage to the old school action genre. So, and here you learn this Beast Within mode, which I wasn't expecting, where you can transform into a different creature. This one being sort of like a panther who can really jump far. And yeah, so we'll see. Looks pretty cheesy. We'll see what comes of that later and what you use those for. I'm guessing to solve puzzles or platform or find things that you couldn't in regular form. So anyway, that's chapter 5, and we'll see you in the next video.